It will be when you're live talking foolishness, like right now.
Yeah. See that countdown there? Let me just make sure to go and send this thing.
Share. Yeah.
I'm gonna share it. Here we go, everybody. Here we go. And all right, I think we're good now. Good afternoon, everyone. Make sure to go and send this. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the Dollars and Cents program podcast. Welcome to our team. We have a guest on here today, but just want to do a little homework right way before we say anything about our guest. Of course, we are on Facebook and we are on YouTube. The Dollars and Cents team. Subscribe if you're on YouTube, right? Hit the notification bell so you know when we post things. Check out some of the past guests that we have. We're also on Dollars and Cents team Facebook page. We have a Facebook page with that, with all the past episodes as well. Hit us up on there. Follow us there as well. All right. Thanks for the support in advance. Leave a comment. When you drop a comment, we will see the comment, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are watching on my Facebook page, drop the comment on the Dollars and Cents Facebook page, right?
Yes.
Not the Kenton Perrin one. I'll try my best to check that out, but if you have to drop it on the page, not my account. But anyways, we'll see if we can pick it up. And if you go to YouTube, if you leave a comment, we'll see those comments, and we encourage your comments. Maybe you want to ask our guests a couple questions, right? Mm-hmm. In addition to that, we want to say shout outs always to RDP Networks. That's Mr. Porteous. Information, that's his business, RDP Networks, with Richie Porteous, information technology company. He deals with network and CCTV installations. Right, shout out to our sponsor, Office Data and VoIP, Citrix support and backup services. So just hit him up. Computers, laptops, whatever it is that you need, you can check Mr. Richie. He'll sort you out. He's also on Facebook as Richie. All right. We have, of course, myself and Keisha from Road to Success Mortgage Financial. All right.
RTS
Financial. And Keisha is on YouTube. You're right, Keisha, as Eye on Mortgage.
Yeah, Eye on Mortgage, and also on Instagram as well as RTS Mortgage Financial. So definitely remember to follow. I do a lot of updates with regards to what's happening in mortgage land and just kind of keep you updated and educated, preparing you for the process of home ownership.
Okay. You're on Instagram, man. Make sure to drop all your handles. Drop your handles as well.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, and also YouTube as well.
Okay. All right.
No TikTok yet. I haven't really.
It's okay. When you say these things, it forces you to just get on it.
Yes.
And Mr. Wade, all right, he's on Instagram. Great counselor, great advisor. He's also a popular radio personality, folks.
Yes.
Right. Is he frozen again? Wait, are you frozen again, buddy? All right, we're gonna.
Frozen. We have to introduce
him. I'm right here.
Listen, you gotta pay them internet bills. His IG handle is pastor_TA, and on Facebook he's Travis Affleck. You can hit him up, right? You can also find me on IG Eat Healthy, Live Free, or just Kenton Perrin, you'll find me there. You'll find me on YouTube. All right. No Justice, No Peace Report. You'll find me Eat Healthy, Live Free as well for YouTube. All right,
Well,
Miss.
he's everywhere.
Yeah,
You
just
try, eh?
organizing it all.
You try.
International.
You try your best, right? Um, we have here our special guest. So sorry for having you waiting, Miss Ebony. All right.
Yeah, we
No
had to take
problem.
care for one sponsor.
Yeah, we have to. We gotta pay the bill.
They gotta pay the bills first.
Ebony Ledford is a financial professional helping women in our communities achieve their dream lifestyle by teaching them how to reduce debt and building massive savings. That's right up our alley, guys. I
Right.
like the massive part.
That you mean right up the girls' alleys?
Yeah. I'm sure the guys will benefit too. Um, Extremely passionate about influencing and impacting lives. In April of 2019, Ebony launched her platform, Beauty, Brains, and Bank, to uplift women and women of color to become business owners. Man,
What?
she's just checking off all the boxes so far. My goodness. Not only has this platform led to an array of new entrepreneurs, another buzzwords for us, within the GTA, but it has also established a positive community, inciting clientele uh, support, mentorship, and business planning. A true crusader of helping families, a daughter, an older sister to many, a leader in our community. Ebony is unapologetically disrupting the status quo by leading from the front and making room for others to win alongside. Okay, I think we can end now because this bio said it. Miss Ebony, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
No
Welcome,
worries,
man.
Ebony. We're glad that you're able to be here, and we have a little crazy team here, but we try our very best to bring some education to the Black community, everyone at large. But we're definitely trying to work on our community, and we are
Mhm.
unapologetic about that.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your background. Yeah, in that you can throw in some education, schooling. Were you born here in Canada? Just a little bit, for our audience to see who you are.
Perfect. So, actually, fun fact, I was going to school to be a lawyer, a family lawyer in particular, and it was my lifelong passion. If you had asked me 5 years ago, 10 years ago where I'd be, I wouldn't say that I would have been here because I wanted to be a very successful lawyer. And I think part of that comes from the stigma kind of around what the Black community can accomplish. It made me feel good to tell people that I'd become a lawyer. And I think that's honestly why I wanted to be a lawyer. But finally, I got to this point in my life where I was like traveling and, actualizing my own dreams. And then I looked at my dad, for example, who is a hardcore Jamaican, born in Jamaica, raised in Jamaica, in Canada, raised as a Jamaican fully. And
Mhm.
just listening to him talk about money, just always save it, never use it, don't live too much in your dreams, be realistic, and don't lust for money too much, which was a good stepping stone for me. But then I started to ask him, like, what are we saving for? Like, we're going to save all this money to do what? And if I'm gone tomorrow, will I be happy that I saved money for nothing? Or would I be better in living my life? So I started to seek, education in the financial realm on how I can live a sustainable lifestyle because people go broke trying to live their dreams. And I didn't want to go broke, but I didn't want to be somebody who was just stuck within the 9 to 5 times 40 years of my life. So I learned about this financial education, and it was simple things like the rule of 72. How can I grow my money? And I was like, man, I've been in school all my life, and everybody says go get a good job so you can make more money, but nobody says here's what you do with the money once you've made it. And so learning that, I started to think, well, if I don't know this, our community, that being the Black community, that being the female community, they also probably don't have access to this information. And so I then started my journey as a financial professional so that I can actually, and the key word there is actually, I wanted to actually educate people on how financials work. Sometimes we go and we talk with people and they say, here, do this with your money, put your money here. But they don't tell you why you're doing it. They don't tell you how you can do it on your own. And I like to empower people with the financial knowledge so that they can go out and do things on their own as well.
Okay. So you were gonna say something, Wade?
I was gonna say something. I said that's very impressive, in terms of going from law, from the courtroom to the finance room.
Yeah.
You touched on something right there. Just for our viewers and our listeners, those who see this here, just give them a snippet of the Rule of 72.
Mhm.
Right, you touched on that a little bit. Just give them a little snippet on the Rule of 72.
But before you do that, did you mention schooling, like where you went or what fee? I know you're in finances, but did you say where you went?
No, actually. So thank you. I forgot. I always forget because it was such a weird experience with that school. I went to York University, so
Okay.
most of my experience was on strike. But
Yeah.
it was within those strike periods.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It was
Even when I
usually
was
within
there.
those strike periods that I started to think, like, do I really want to be a lawyer? So I'm thankful for the strikes because it made me really think about what I wanted to do. But yeah, I studied law there, and then I actually, through private education, I then was licensed with the province of Ontario to act as a financial professional, which is
Okay.
crazy because I spent so much money at university for law, and then I spent less money to build an amazing business with a huge impact.
Wow.
But also speaking to Wade's question on the Rule of 72, the Rule of 72 basically is said to be created by Albert Einstein, and I do this because people popularize these things by saying, oh, it was coined by. But basically, it says if you divide 72 by the rate of return that you're earning, you'll obtain the approximate amount of years it'll take for your money to double. So the amazing thing for me about this was that most Canadians leave their money where? In a 1% account, which means that it would take us 72 years for us to double our money. The fun fact about this, and I always make this joke, is all of us on this screen share the same 172-year period in our lifetime, which means if I invest in my 20s, great, I see my money double once. But if somebody else starts investing in their 40s, they don't even get to live to see their money double. And that blew my mind because I noticed that I was saving a lot of money, like my dad told me, and the bank would deposit these pennies in my account even after the penny was no longer a thing. And I was like, that's so disrespectful. If I can't pull it out, don't put it in. So basically, then I started thinking, okay, what if I made 12%, right? And I always jump to that because for me, when I first learned this, I was like, you guys are just saying 12% to make people hopeful. But the markets last year performed at 26%. And so if you only made 12%, your money would double every 6 years, believe it or not. So it was a concept like that. Like, we think about how to become a millionaire. I used to think being a millionaire was so hard. But the Rule of 72 tells me if I save $10,000 at the age of 29 in a 12% account, by 65, I'd have $640,000. And if I over contributed to that, I'd be a millionaire. So it's really not that hard when you think of it in the terms of the Rule of 72. But the thing is, and I don't want to say that people don't have access to the information because we have Google University, but people, I think, accidentally forget to teach and speak to these concepts within certain communities so that it's not as easily accessible for us to find.
All right, thank you for shedding some light on that. That's pretty good. So yeah, so it's true when we, and this is something that we talked about last week in terms of save your money, save your money, save your money. That's what we were taught. That's what we were told. You work, and then what happens later on. And so I think you're onto something, and that's what this Dollars and Cents is all about, to bring knowledge and opportunity to our peoples, to let them know that in spite of what you were told, there's an alternative, and a strikingly better alternative as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you find, and predominantly you work with clients of our culture, right? Do you find that there is a mindset that is very conditioned, and you have to start to kind of unravel stuff? What is that like? In terms of trying to change the thought process, and to get on that road of financial success, financial freedom.
So that is a great question. And I would say that, the beginning of my journey, I was like, I'm going to help the Black community. This is going to be so easy. I'm going to build it up. Everybody's going to love me. And I ran into a brick wall, basically. Right. And it's because of that mindset. Right. I had to learn and accept that I'm kind of an anomaly. I'm a female within the financial industry. I'm young within the financial industry, and I'm a Black female to top it all off. So for
Oh
a lot
boy.
of people, when I run in, they're like, oh, wait, you can't tell me about my money. So it took a lot of time, really, to sit down with people within our community, because there is so much stigma around finances. We don't want anybody to know our financial business, one. Two, we don't necessarily want to be misguided, and there's not always a lot of trust within the community, is what I find. And because of our long history of not having financial literacy or independence, we have these deep rooted ideologies that prevent us from wanting to increase our money. And one thing that I would say is, like, I learned this because I'm like, my mom told me once, insurance is a scam. And I'm like, yeah, it must be a scam. If you say so, then it must be, right? But then I started to realize, like, okay, I don't think it's a scam. So why do Black families on a larger amount think that this is a scam? And then I did my research and realized that before we were freed, we were not allowed to own life insurance. After we were freed, we were not allowed to own life insurance. So as our community was held down by not being able to own life insurance and creating these ideologies, other cultures were owning life insurance and building long legacies of generational wealth. So now we're playing a catch up. So I find when sitting down with the community, it's really just going back. I always make references to history, to where our mindset is coming from. I sit down with people where I say, in order for you to retire at the age you want to retire, you have to save $1 million. And they'd be like, no, the love for money, it's evil. It's the root of all evil. So I'm just going to let God take me. And I'm like, you need $1 million to survive. You're going to be living for 30 years after. God agrees. You're going to survive, right? But it's kind of mentality, and I don't blame people, again, right? Because that's the thing. There was so much taken away from us as a community, and there were so many things put into our mindset. So I feel like every time I sit down with somebody, I give them massages. You go one time, your body's really tough, and I have to soften you up a little bit, and then you come back and I soften you up a little bit, until then finally you're loose and comfortable, and we can get working on your financial strategy.
You call it massages. It's not like little blows.
Sometimes a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta soften them up that way. You're on social media, right? What's your, just so I don't forget, but what's your information on, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, or what is it?
So my Instagram is at _ebony, EBONI .ELLE. And I'm on Facebook as well. I'm getting back onto it, but I have Financial Fitness with Ebony L on Facebook. And I use both interconnectedly to pass on some free information. Because another thing that I find with the community is sometimes people aren't really there yet where they want to sit down with anybody, but in still being able to give them tidbits of information, I find it extremely helpful.
Okay. When you say you sit down with individuals, I mean, you definitely say you give them the history of why it is that we have a certain mindset, and then you speak about certain specific things. Like, how do you take a person through whatever it is that you're taking them through to educate them financially? Because this is also a business of yours, right? It's not just you doing something for just the love of it, but it's a business. So individuals come to you, and fees are associated with this. right? So how, just talk to us about the process, or anything, or as much as you can do.
Perfect. Yeah, so there's a couple of things. I'll walk you through the process beginning to end. One of the first things I say to people, because this is another stigma within the financial industry. When you want to sit down with a financial professional, the first question is cost. How much do you cost? And what are the fees going to look like long term? Well, I'm actually more like a broker, right? Similar to Keisha, right? I'm more like a broker. So I don't have Ebony products or an Ebony bank as much as I wish I did. I don't have it. And so I work with
Coming
other
soon.
companies. It's coming soon. So I work with companies like TD, Manulife, BMO, and a bunch of privately owned investment firms, insurance companies. And basically, I connect the person in front of me with those solutions. So the person in front of me, the client, never actually writes Ebony a check, but in solidifying and getting their solutions, the banks, investment firms, and other companies, they pay me. It's like a referral system, right? Because they also want customers, but
Mhm.
I'm doing all the work. So that being said, once people hide their wallets because they're able to do that with me, then I basically take them through their goals and dreams. Remember earlier on, I was saying sometimes I think a lot of people have trouble with saving and budgeting because they don't know what they're saving for. And generally, if you're saving towards nothingness, it's really hard to maintain and stay motivated if there is no end goal. So for me, I sit down and I basically try to reveal everybody's goals. I told you my mom, she was a dreamer. So she had like, I want to travel and I want to get a vacation house. But my dad was like, no, I don't want to. I just want to save money. So for people like my dad, it's like, okay, no, how much money do you want to save? What are you going to use it for? What's going to make you happy? And I kind of dig to find some wild, really big goals. And then I help people save towards those goals. I take them through what I call a financial home, and I'm gonna like draw it out like this, but the reason I use a financial home is because financial concepts are really unnecessarily complicated. I say to people, interest is capital gains. Why do we have two words for the same thing? Just so that we can confuse people. So I use the financial home so that when I'm working with middle income families who have not learned about financial concepts, they can look at it and have an understanding of how to build a firm financial foundation. So I take them through that, protecting their ability to earn income, building the pillars of their financial home, which is saving vehicles, a home, RSP, open accounts, tax-free savings accounts, personal and protective tax shelters. And then I go to the roof with them, which is really tax efficiency. I always ask people, do you love paying taxes? And I'm sure you guys can guess the answer is always no. But still, we usually leave most of our money in fully taxable accounts. So that roof part covers just being more tax efficient with your saving and investing. And then, of course, lastly, the part that, again, a lot of people avoid is a will, estate planning. And I usually use Aretha Franklin. She passed away with an $81 million estate and no will. And I always say, as wicked as it sounds, I would have loved to be the lawyer that handled that probate case because the lawyer takes their piece. The accountant says $81 million. Nice. I get to take my piece. The courts take their piece. And then finally, towards the end, with no specific time frame, then the courts say, okay, family, you can get whatever's left, and you have to pay taxes on $81 million as well. So, in order to have your whole financial home secured, right? Building savings and protecting your savings. I take them through the home so that they have a full understanding. And then from there, we break down budgets, cash flow, and then we go into solutions that will be helpful for them.
Mhm.
How long, Ebony? How long have you been doing this?
Going on 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like a wealth of information behind you.
Thanks.
This is good.
I think it comes really from uh, I think there's a lot of people who are in fields or in businesses where they don't have a real connection to it. But part of my passion is like I said, I don't want to live, I never wanted to be normal. I tell people, I think I learned this from an episode of That's So Raven. Like when I was young, I was like, I'm going to write out my will. And I'm like, who put that in my brain to have a will? My parents didn't even have wills at that time. But I've always been very different and saw the world from a different view. I've kind of been a dreamer. And in order to actualize your dream, you need to have financial knowledge. But I don't want to see anybody, especially within our community, being tied down to jobs that they don't like, or to fitting their dreams to the size of their wallet. My passion really comes from empowering people and just allowing people to do the things that I want to do. Like one of my wild goals that I will achieve is retiring my parents. And that's really important to me. But most people, when I say that to them, they're like, that's not your responsibility and that's not normal. But if we normalize wealth and health and self-care within the Black community, that can become a very normal thing. I mean, unless your child is more not into helping you out, but if you have somebody who's looking to help you out, then we can normalize these actions. So I think part of my my knowledge and my passion really comes from trying to change the trajectory of my family and the wealth line going forward.
Right.
In terms
Sound
oh, go ahead, Wayne.
good. No, go ahead. Because I was going to ask about beauty brains and the bank. I was going to ask about that, but you
Well,
can finish.
yeah, maybe what you're gonna say, Flo. I was just gonna ask in terms of the age range of individuals. Is it mainly, one particular age that you normally get, or is it broad? Is it broad? And what Wade is gonna ask in terms of, of course, we're talking. You mentioned that you deal with women, right? So you can
Mhm.
just mix the two, unless Wade has another piece to add to what he was gonna ask. But
Perfect. So the age range that I work with is everybody. I don't
okay.
discriminate from age range.
Mhm.
I find that a lot of people normally in their 20s and 30s are more gung-ho about getting their financial home in order. Maybe it's
Okay.
just with the changing times, but I work with everybody because I feel like at any point in time in any stage of our life, we always need financial education. Speaking to why I work with women particularly, I
Mhm.
do work with men as well, but my target audience really is women. And that's because in Canada in particular, women hold $1.1 trillion of assets and they're not investing it. They don't know what to do with it. And I still feel like the traditional financial industry still regards them as not being the breadwinner. So I want to help empower women, especially because our survival period is usually longer than that of our spouses. So we tend to be in charge of the finances at the end of the day. So I just like empowering women. I noticed that there's a huge trend for women being boss babes, girl bosses. And so we're really taking over, but it's important to have somebody who's on our side as well as men's side, but on our side and working in our interest so that we know what to do with that money once we have it. And then tying that into beauty brains and bank, I noticed at the beginning of my journey, I when you start a business, you have to learn a lot about yourself. You have to
Mhm.
change your self-talk. You learn about whether or not you care about other people's opinions. And what I learned is as confident as I was, I really cared about other people's opinions. I was nervous that people were going to say I'm an idiot, and people did say that, why did you leave law? You're an idiot. And so I was like, for the first little while, just trying to get to understand myself. But I started to realize, especially within the young Black female community, there is an array of business owners, a huge community, and we're not interconnected. We tear each other down sometimes. We are just doing our own thing, stepping over each other, trying to get to the top, literally crabs in a barrel. And sometimes when you're in that, it feels hard. Like I would want to talk to other Black female entrepreneurs and be like, is this person going to answer me? Is this person going to judge me? Is this person going to make me feel like I'm less than? And in speaking to a lot of other young Black entrepreneurs that were female, especially within Toronto, I noticed that this was a common theme. And so I decided to have an event where there were multiple entrepreneurs within the same industries speaking on their businesses and on their tactics so that we can teach and empower people, and so that we can learn again what to do with our money once we make it. Did you guys know a lot of entrepreneurs make money? In fact, they make good money, but they never pay themselves. they work for free because they always reinvest 100% back into their business. But I'm thinking, no, we never work for free. So it's just teaching people that, and again, just holding that passion of allowing people to have a platform where they feel like their voice is heard and where people can be inspired to start a business. I launched BB&B in 2018. COVID-19 taught everybody that they might want to start some sort of business. But in 2018, I found a lot of people were like, I want to sell something, but I'm not sure. Or I'm really passionate about this, but I don't think it makes sense. So I just wanted people to feel like they had a space where they can take a leap of faith and have people there to catch them if they fall.
Does that satisfy you, Mr. Wade?
Yes, yes, I'm satisfied. One thing, Keisha, you need to start paying yourself.
Yeah. No, it's so true.
I'm guilty, I will say.
Especially on the other podcasts that I do, a lot of times when we bring on the entrepreneurs, especially, if they're just starting out or whatever, that's the one line that they haven't really gotten into where they're paying themselves. They're just putting the funds back in to sort of, I don't bring it up to a certain level or start pushing out a little bit better. But yeah, so true, so true. I didn't know. Well, it never really clicked to me until you were saying it the way you're saying it now. But yeah, they mentioned it time and time again.
Just a question, with regards to the clients that you work with, can you think of one particular client that, when they came to you, their portfolio, where they're, maybe in the negatives, the change of their mindset? Is there someone that you could think off the top of your head, of course, without compromising confidentiality, but just to give some idea of maybe quite a file that came to you and like, ooh, this one's you get where I'm going.
Yes, I actually have a couple of those stories, and I feel like that's a win already.
Mhm.
That when you're saying that, I can think of so many people because I had a client come to me sometime last year and they had debt that was growing at 46%. And loan sharking in Canada is 63% or higher. So it's not loan sharking, but it definitely was a lot. And so basically every month they're spending so much money paying off this debt. But what was driving me crazy was the loan was only for $1,000, but they would have spent far more than $1,000 to keep maintaining this loan. And I remember sitting with this person and just saying, like, we really have to clarify some things. Just got a new car. I think the payments were $660 a month. A lot of expenses for trying to keep up hobbies, and also wanted to help his parents, his mother, and to move out on his own. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of competing goals here. And it's funny because a lot of us have competing goals. And really, people's question is, how do I attain all of this without crushing my other goals? And so in that case, I basically helped out already by just saying, save $3 a day. And he was like, that sounds ridiculous. It's an odd number, first off. And what am I doing saving only $3 a day? But I said, have the bank take it out of your account automatically. And I got one message that was like, man, I've already saved so much money in my emergency fund. And then we opened up a TFSA that was growing at a significant interest rate. And then I got another email just saying, you've invested time in me, where I didn't think other people would. And just speaking with you was so great. But the best one for me really was that the debt was gone. And he had paid it off before the end of the term, which means he saved himself a significant amount of money. And then going forward, he used those payments to, again, contribute to his savings. So that for me was one huge story. I think another one that a lot of people can relate to, because some people might be on the call listening and thinking, well, I'm not in the negatives. And a lot of people say that. I usually say, make sure you don't spend more than you earn. And everybody's like, well, obviously. And I'm like, most of us do because we have credit cards. Like, we're not into the habit of declining. So we use our credit cards. And so we're spending far more than we earn, but we don't realize. But I had this client and she basically had a beautiful pension. And she's like, I'm leaving the job. I need to move it. I just want it to sit somewhere. I don't want to lose it. I don't care if it grows a little bit, but I just want it somewhere. And in just a couple of months, she invested in April, and I sat down with her last month, and she had already grown from 11,000 is what she put in to just under 15,000 within a couple of months. And this is somebody who's extremely pretty much low to medium risk. She didn't want to see any growth, and just having this conversation with her, she was like, is this a joke? Because she couldn't believe it, right? And so it's not that in that case I did anything out of the norm. It was just that I connected her to the right portfolio, to the right information, and kind of introduced her to who she is as an investor so that she can put the money in the right place so it could grow.
Mhm. So it seems like a lot of times, for a lot of people, of course, it's just having direction, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
In terms of you've mentioned COVID. How did that affect your business, if it did at all?
Yeah.
So I think within the financial industry, what I noticed is it affected our industry really well. And the reason I say that is because with financial crises, pandemics, and then we remember we're also fighting not just the pandemic itself, but other social pandemics, including the Black Lives Matter fight with George Floyd. All of
Mhm.
these things are interconnected to our mindset and what we think we need to do. A lot of people put out a lot of money to different causes during the March to May period, and then thinking about how can I increase my money to do more of that. Or some people were on the risk of losing their job or reduced hours, thinking about how do I build an emergency fund. So what I realized is, COVID-19 for me at first, because of the social injustices that were happening, for me at first, I actually was facing burnout. And that could be because I'm like a rocket. I usually just move, 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 and I never take a second except for when I'm on vacations. But I realized I was extremely burned out, and I was emotionally very just taxed with everything that was going on. Plus, we were locked at home for quite a while. So that was the first portion. But then once I got fired up again, I realized there was an insurgence of people looking for free financial reviews. A lot of people were calling my current clients saying, like, what do I do about this? I had a lot of referrals. I had a lot of new, like, net new people just coming in with inquiries. So it became a very, very busy season, and it still is even to now.
Okay. So in terms of sorry, I'm getting an echo there. Not too sure where that is. All right, I heard you on the COVID thing. So it's actually turned out not to be bad. It was pretty good. I,
Yes.
what about you had also mentioned like the emergence of, I think you said something about businesses during COVID or entrepreneurs during COVID. You were called on a lot for that as well.
Yes, we saw a lot of people just asking questions, and I found a lot of business people who, it's funny, I did a lot of speaking engagements as well for new entrepreneurs, and just
Okay.
figuring out again, how do I make this work? How much do I invest in my business? A lot
Hmm.
of people were inquiring about business loans. So, I think I did a video on this, and it was really popular because I never trusted any employer, to be honest with you. But a lot of people do trust employers, and they feel like they really love them, that they're going to keep them there. And COVID-19 showed people the true faces of their employers, who you're working for. And a lot of people were really scared by it. A lot of people were laid off, and CERB only qualified for some people, even though we know some people took it anyways, and they have to pay it back this tax season.
Wink,
But
wink.
but there was just a lot of uncertainty, and people didn't have emergency funds, and people didn't know what industry they wanted to be in. And so there was just so much. And I think the resounding message was that if you want to trust your employer, if you want to ensure that you have a certain income, you need to be your own employer. And so it became just really popular. And I think we see that all over social media, new pages coming, people saying, I'm starting a new business, I'm trying this. And really, I think that there is power in that.
Mhm.
And I like to say to people that even if you don't make a dime, you save on taxes. So start a business.
Even if you don't make a dime, you save on taxes. So start a business. All right, that's some good insight there. When somebody comes and you're dealing with that person, how long does it take? Is it based on their situation? It can be a short time, it can be a short turnaround. It could be sometime longer meaning a year, 6 months. I mean, in terms of how you do things, what's that cutoff point for you, or?
I would say what makes me different is maybe I don't have that cutoff point.
Okay.
Um, I the first thing I do is I educate you on concepts. That way I can say like, Kenton, maybe you like me, maybe you don't like me. Maybe my
Mhm.
curls are not right, they're not fluffy enough for you, but I taught you everything that you need to know
Mhm.
to build your financial home. So whether you work with me or another financial professional, nobody can push you around because you know what you're talking about.
Right.
Most people after that would say, no, no, your curls are right. I love you. Next appointment. Next appointment is an FNA, financial needs analysis, walking them through suggestions and recommendations on how we can help them achieve their goals, on the things like their life insurance need if they have one, also emergency fund shortfall, and
Mhm.
retirement, which regardless of your age, everybody has to think about retirement because again, you need to sustain yourself for 30 to 40 years. You need to start saving for it now. And then after that, I would make some recommendations on solutions. And that third meeting really is identifying the solutions and the client deciding if they're moving forward. So normally this process might take as long as it could take 2 weeks for some people. But in another situation, maybe somebody has negative cash flow, which is something that I've experienced a lot, where somebody comes to me, they have negative cash flow. And the first thing that I'm really trying to do is make up for the lost money, right? Where is it actually going? I actually find sometimes I do the financial needs analysis and I would say, like, for example, Wade, you have 600 extra dollars in your bank account after your expenses. Do you see this $600? I've never seen it. So in that situation as well, I need to help them identify where the cash flow is going. So I usually say, download the Mint app. Let's track your spending. Let's reduce expenses. Once I open up their cash flow, then we resume and we start going forward with other things as well.
You're on mute, Keisha.
If you could just repeat that, the Mint
Yes, the
because
Mint app is created by Intuit, and I find it to be extremely helpful.
yeah.
Sometimes, for example, TD has an app. I think all banks have those cash apps that kind of track your spending, but the default with them is that they don't work interconnected with your other bank accounts. Like I have 3 bank accounts. And like I said, people spend so much on their credit cards. So if you're not tracking what you're spending on other cards, it's very hard for you to stay true to what that app is telling you. The Mint app allows you to add multiple different cards. It sends you notifications as well. You can set your budget in there, change your budget. And I love it because it's annoying and nobody likes to be annoyed. And when you're going over budget, it would be like, Keisha, you're over budget. Keisha, I said, you're over budget. Keisha, you're over budget. And I love
Yeah.
that because sometimes some people just need that push.
Mint, is
Yes.
that Mint app is what? That's associated with a financial institution, or it's just an app?
It's just an app created by Intuit.
Okay. Okay.
I have it. It is pretty cool. It does track your spending, and I just actually put it in our chat there. I don't know if you can flip it over to our main chat so our audience can take a look at it, do a little bit of research. Always good to research what you're getting into, right?
Okay.
But it's a pretty good one.
So the services that you offer, Ebony, it's like far and wide type thing. It's you get, or it's mainly Canadians who are hitting you up. No, anybody from the USA. Have you gone international?
International. Actually, funny enough, a lot of people from Jamaica have asked me
Hey.
some financial questions, but I have not gone there yet as an actual working professional. But I always give advice to anybody, and I do find that because I am able to work within the United States, and I have people that I work with in the United States as well. It makes it very easy for me to guide people on that end as well.
Okay.
What would you say with regards to your clientele? What is the most common goal that they have? Is it maybe saving towards retirement, saving towards a home? What is the common that you find amongst your clients?
The most common goal right now is saving for a home. And I do feel like this is always, I had this conversation with my dad, and my dad, I told you he's super Jamaican and he's very stubborn, and I'm very stubborn from him as well. So we
Nothing
get
wrong
into
with that. Nothing wrong with that, Dad. Big up
we,
yourself.
we get into these heated debates. And I was just saying that a lot of people, I find, especially within the Black community, and I was a victim of this. We want to be independent. So usually around the age of 18, we're like, we're going to move out. Not because we have to, but because it
Yeah,
makes us feel
yeah.
good.
Independence. Yeah.
Yes. And so we do that, and we spend all this money on like rent, and then finally we get into this cycle of renting. So I'm talking to a lot of people who are already in the cycle of renting, but trying to figure out, how do I now graduate to owning a home? So I always find this as a very unique. I'm glad I had the parents that I had, because my dad's so stubborn, told me, if you move out, don't come back, because your
No,
credit
come
will
back.
kill you. So
Yeah.
I feel like the common goal really is just saving towards a home. And as you guys know, housing prices are getting so expensive, and it's becoming overwhelmingly complicated to figure out what do I buy. So a lot of people I talk to are saying they're going to move out to like Tobermory, which is crazy because they're going to be so isolated from everybody.
What you know about Tobermory? What is she's calling names? Oh, wait, it's frozen. But what you know about Tobermory?
Well,
Oh,
Tobermory has some of the best waters. So that's why I know specifically Tobermory, that area. But a
yeah.
lot of people considered moving there because the housing prices are pretty cheap.
Yeah,
Hold on.
not our Tobermory.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. She said nice waters. I said, what's the Tobermory?
KP, in our Tobermory, that would be Ray and nephew.
She said
But that's
nice
not what she's
waters.
talking about.
I was just about to ask. I said, which Tobermory? Where is this Tobermory you talking about?
Not that one. Not that one.
Oh, okay.
All righty.
All right. So nice to hear that. You're near and far. You're open to that. But so where are you going with this in terms of of course you voiced some of your dreams in terms of reaching a certain point with what you're doing and helping your parents and all these different things. But where do you want to? What do you want to do with what you're doing? Or do you want to establish yourself a lot more? Create. I don't know in your world, is it offices or whatever it is, more of what you're doing type thing, hire people? I don't know if you have a team that you're working with right now.
Yes, so this is a good question, and there's so many answers. I would say, so first off, I want to build a huge influence. In fact, I told my grandma was saying, you mustn't speak of these thing, man. But I said, on my headstone, I want you guys to put live, love, influence. And she's
Yeah.
like, why are you thinking about that? And my mom is like, hello, this is a new world now. But I would like to increase my influence, and I would like to make sure that when that time comes, I'm like a stature for people. So whether it's, being responsible for building the next 10 or 20 Black young millionaires or billionaires, or
Yeah.
contributing to businesses that blow up. But another thing for me really is just maybe investing in a center for youth, again, maybe young women. And as it comes to my office, in the past, before COVID-19, I would have told you I would build 100 offices. I don't want business overhead anymore. So my offices are all virtual.
Virtual. Okay.
Yes. And so for me, I told you guys I wanted to be a lawyer. I spent all my time doing that, but I learned how to be a very successful financial professional. And so another part of my goal would be to encourage other Black women alongside me and women in general to become powerful financial entrepreneurs so that they can also carry out this mission of just spreading awareness to everybody who needs it.
So right now you're just a team of one.
No, actually, I'm a team of 35.
Okay, team of 30. And you the boss.
Yes, yes.
Ebony. Oh my goodness.
Nice.
Anybody you want to shout out? I mean, we have that as a part of what we do here too. Or anybody on the team or just anybody in general. Shout outs to Pops. All right. Big up Ebony's dad.
Yeah, I would shout out my whys, my mom, my dad, my brother. They keep me going, and every time I'm not motivated, they motivate me, whether they say something that's annoying or they say something that's amazing. My boyfriend is somebody who stretched my vision, so big ups to the M3 experience. He's starting a huge fitness business as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing him inspire people to develop healthier lifestyles. And I guess to my friends and to people who I don't know yet, I always say that because my drive really is to impact people, and their faces I can't determine yet because I haven't met them. And so just to everybody, just keep inspired and keep looking to build your dreams, and I will find you.
If there is, for someone out there who is sinking in debt, really has no direction, if there was something that you can say to them right now, what would that be?
It doesn't feel good. It never feels great, but you'll get through it one debt payment at a time. And what I mean by that is I used to be a criminal. I just don't like debt. I don't like the look of it. I don't like to know it's there. And so I would just spend all this money to pay down the debt, like not strategically though. So I'd pay off the lowest interest credit card because it made me feel good to see zero. While my other debt's like, great, good job that you did that over there. I'm just going to keep growing here. So I find that when dealing with debt, especially overwhelming amounts of debt, there are programs that can help you take care of it. But when dealing with it on your own, one, have an accountability partner, somebody that's going to keep you accountable. Try to meditate and reduce your stress about it as much as possible. And two, only pay off, or three, I said two, three, pay off the highest interest debt first, even if it's going to take the longest amount of time.
You hear that, folks? You hear that? Ebony, what's the name of your business?
So, fun fact. My office is actually called Pinnacle Dominators, but I'm an independent contractor of a company called World Financial Group, commonly known as WFG. So when looking for my business, normally I just use my actual name. That's my real business name, but my office is called Pinnacle Dominators.
Okay. All right. Okay, we just have a couple minutes, guys. I mean, anything else we want to drop on Ebony to pick her brain here, see what else what other information we can get out of her.
No, I like what she said about the paying off the debt, the highest interest first.
Oh boy, here we go.
We're getting into the middle.
He ended off at highest interest first, Ebony. I'm guessing that's where he was gonna go. What could you say about that?
No, that's not where I was gonna go.
Oh, listen, until you stop freezing, sir, we're gonna go there. All right.
Was it?
Oh boy.
Again.
This is an interesting broadcast. I tell you. Go ahead, Ebony. Go ahead.
Or type it out.
Yeah, what type it with?
Yeah, because.
Am I still frozen?
No.
You're okay.
Okay, historically we've been taught to pay off the smallest debt first. Why do you say go to the highest interest first?
Because and actually I'll answer two questions so that I provide the best value on the last note. So paying off the highest interest debt first makes more sense, because sometimes when you pay off the smallest debt or smallest interest debt, you feel good for you, but your largest interest debt is growing and is trying to double. Think about the rule of 72 and reverse it. If you have 12% interest on your debt, it's doubling every 6 years. If you have 19.9%, which is what most Canadians have, your debt's actually doubling every 3 to 4 years. So in paying down your smallest interest debt first, you're just allowing more money to go towards the largest debt later on. And simultaneously, when people are drowning in debt and they're like, I want to save, some people would say, I'm going to pay myself first, I'm going to save first and then pay off my minimums. Don't do it unless your interest rate on your savings is higher than the interest rate on your debt. Right? Because then while you're saving all this money monthly, still down the line, you're going to end up paying more money towards the creditor.
Yeah, for that you'd have to be a bank where your interest rate is higher than your on your savings than on your debt. Yeah, it's okay. Y'all missed it. It's okay.
Whatever. Whatever. Well, Mr. Ebony, thank you very much for being on here. I don't know, I think you've said quite a few things in terms of parting words. I think Keisha gave you that good launching pad there. We're glad that you're on here. We'll do our best to get this information out there. We post on various platforms, not just to our personal information, right? So that folks will see what we have done here.
And before we go, just if you can just once again let us know how, for someone who's out there who's listening, maybe now or later, how can they get in contact with you if they are in need, of course, of your services?
Perfect. Thanks. So one is, again, my Instagram, at ebony_ELLE. And there you can find motivating tips for entrepreneurship, for money management, for taxes. I have some really good tax tips on there right now, FYI. You can also book a free financial planning session with me using the link in my bio on my Instagram. And you can also get in contact with me via my website, which is ebonyledford.com.
Awesome.
Ebony, I'm just dropping that in there. I think that's it there, right? I'll show it to you. There you go.
Oh, LED.
Oh. No. Let me correct that. Let's hide that one. Let's try that again. We're not gonna leave until we get it. So, Ebony, there we go. We just want to make sure that we get EBONILEDFORD, right?
Yes, perfect.
All right, let's try that again.
Turn it off.
There you go.
There we go. All right, don't worry. We'll get rid of the other one.
All right, so we sure, of course, we want to thank you, for taking the time out of your schedule to come and bless us with some knowledge, right? As once again, we are all about bringing knowledge and opportunity to those in our community. And as KP mentioned in the beginning, overall, but of course, we do focus, of course, on our community because, it's been years of, not ahead of the game. When you even spoke very quickly about the insurance, about having that mentality, and other cultures having the opportunity to have insurance and understand it. So therefore, God forbid, if something happened, they could pass that inheritance down through insurance. And we are playing catch up. We definitely are. Right. So we just want to thank you 100% for enlightening us. And we want to wish you, very much success as you continue the journey. Success is a journey, right? Not a destination. And you already begun that. And you continue going and empowering women, some men as well. But yeah, continue on that path. Thank you.
Keisha.
Thank you so much.
We don't pull in 1.1 trillion. That's why, Wade. It's okay. All right, folks. Until next time, next Thursday, we'll be back on here again at 1 p.m. Take care of yourselves and stay safe out there.
All right.